All right. So one of the first things I did at the beginning of the year is for each grade level, I chose a lesson from the Flex curriculum as my starting point. I think we did the mythology columns with the students in fifth grade. Fourth grade, we did texture as movement, and we did different lessons for all the other grades. I wanted to focus on fourth grade, what I did with fourth grade, because they really the lesson that I started out with them was able to carry me throughout the year and be able to not only use the first lesson with the art of ed, but I was able to use it continually throughout the year with all of the grade levels. But this fourth grade, it was really like a kind of like a stepping stone from one lesson to the next. So we started out as texture is paint. Um, Texture is movement, and we painted paper, and we used texture plates, and we did a warm colors and cool colors, and they learned how to create texture on their paintings, um, to create it to make it look like movement. And what I did next is I looked into the art of education lessons, and we took that paper that we had created, and we did weaving. And so I taught them how to weave paper using the resources from the art of education. So they took their textured paper and texture as movement, and we created these paper weavings, and they looked beautiful on the wall when they were up. And the kids at first were like, this is going to look weird with them all these different lines. And at the end, it was just really beautiful to see how they turned out. And I was able to use the resources for weaving because you had a very clear diagram of a loom and all the different parts of the loom, very clear instructions on how to weave and the language that I can use, which I can explain it just on how I do it, but just having the vocabulary in your lessons, the materials, the step by step instructions, and you had the kids' examples. One of the examples that you guys did was using the popsicle sticks, and then you did the rubber bands around that. And so when we went from this, I taught them about how to weave with paper. Then I moved on to using an actual loom. We put rubber bands, and then I just put a ton of yarn out, and they got to use the same technique as with the paper, but with the rubber bands and the popsicle sticks. From your lesson, they were able to weave their own do their own weaving on a loom, and the kids loved it, and they got all creative. Some did it this way and had it hang really long and put some beads on it. Others did it this way and had like a little hook that way, and we're excited to be able to take it from paper and then just using now an actual the loom with a popsicle stick and sticks and rubber bands, and then yarn. And I had some students who went home and created a whole bunch of their um, own little looms and created ornaments because it was during wintertime, and they did it for their tree, and they gave them out as presents. It was really cute. And then taking it a step further, we had international night towards the end of the school year, and what they did is we focused on Peruvian art and how there's a lot of llamas that you can find in Peru, and you can see them in their paintings and their folk art and different things like that. So we took a llama loom, and I got this off of a teacher online. Can't remember her name, but she had this llama template, and I thought that would be a great way for them to see what they learned, see what they remembered, and we created the llama loom, and then they created the blanket, and then they could embellish it. I had a bunch of different embellishments out, and most of them did like the mini pom poms, and then they could color it. And so that was just how seeing that the foundation starting out with texture as movement, and it just was a building block to get to where they were able to create things like this in the end pretty much on their own.